Hello, in this video I'm going to go ahead and take a look at how to factor polynomials where we have a coefficient of x. Alright, when we did not have a coefficient of x, let's say we wanted to factor x squared plus 5x plus 6, we could just think about numbers that multiply to c and add to b. So in this case it would be, let's see, 2 and 3 multiply to 6, add to 5, so that's how you factor it. It's not quite that easy for this, so it would be real nice if we could figure out a method that would get you the answers right away. Typically, the way you do this is you need to guess and check. So 3x times x gets you 3x squared. Things that multiply to 4 would be, let's see, I'm just going to make a list here. 4 times 1 gets me 4, 2 times 2. If this was a negative, I'd list some negatives, but it's not. So I guess we can try a 4 and a 1 and see what happens. So if I check it, I'm going to have my first be x squared, 3x squared. Then I would have plus 3x plus 4x plus 1. Okay, so that doesn't quite work. We could try maybe a 2 and a 2 instead. So then I'd have 3x squared plus 6x plus 2x plus 4. Okay, and that would work. Okay, so my final answer here is going to be 3x plus 2, and then it'd just be x plus 2 would be my other. All right, so the other way we can do this is with this method down here. What you do is you make a, this is called the snowflake method. Okay, so you label it as shown. Okay, B goes here, A goes here and here. 8 times C goes down here. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, and then what you're doing is you're looking for numbers that multiply to the bottom number. So you're going to multiply to get 8 times C, and you want to add to get B. All right, so what numbers add to get 8, multiply to get 12? That would be 2 and 6. What you do now is you take a look at these. Think of them as fractions. You reduce them if possible. 3 over 2 does not reduce. You put the 3 as the coefficient of x. 2 gets added to it. 3 over 6 reduces to 1 over 2. So the 1 goes here. The 2 goes there. Okay, and we have it factored. All right, so let's try that with some more. Okay, repetition will help you here. All right, so A goes here and here, so 4 goes there and there. Negative 9 is B. 8 times C would be 4 times 5 is 20. All right, so we're looking for numbers that multiply to get 20 and add to get negative 9. So negative 4 and negative 5, I believe, do that. Yep. Okay, so then I try reducing. Okay, I can divide both of these by 4, so I'd have 1 over negative 1, and over there does not reduce. So coefficient of x is just 1, and then I would do 1x minus 1. Over here I have 4x plus negative 5. All right, you probably just write that as x minus 1, and then 4x minus 5. Okay, always want to check, just multiply these back through, make sure you get what you're supposed to. If I do FOIL, the first, I could get 4x squared, outer minus 5x, inner minus 4x, last plus 5, so that'd be 4x squared minus 9x plus 5, which is what I am supposed to get. All right, so next we'll try 2h squared plus 13h minus 7. Okay, so A is 2, B is 13, 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. So looking for numbers that multiply to get negative 14, add to get 13. So I believe 14 and negative 1 would do that. Okay, this will reduce to 1 over 7. So I'd have h plus 1h plus 7, just h plus 7. Then over here I'd have 2h minus 1. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at what happens if there is some negative numbers involved. Okay, like with this method, what you need to do, you have to have them be positive, so you got to factor out the negative first. So if you factor out negative or negative 1, if you want to think of it that way, you'd have 2y squared plus 5y plus 3. All right, the negative or negative 1 is just going to be outside of your answer. Okay, just like you would if you factored it the other way. All right, so then go ahead and set the snowflake up now. A is going to be 2, B is 5, C is 3. So 2 would go here and here, 5 is B, and then c, a times c, 2 times 3 would be 6. All right, so what multiplies the 6, adds the 5, would be 2 and 3. This is reduced to 1 over 1. 2/3 can't be reduced, so that would be x plus 1 over here, and that'd be 2x plus 3 over there. All right, so the negative is factored out. You could also write it this way, negative x plus 1 times and then 2x plus 3. All right, if you check that out, you should get back what we started with. For these next couple, if you'd like to try it yourself, feel free to hit pause, and then once you hit play again, you can try it out. Okay. This one is already positive, so I can get rid of that. If you can find a GCF first, okay, go ahead and do it. This is another thing that you're pretty much required to factor the GCF out in order for this to work properly. All right, so my greatest common factor here is 3. So factor the 3 out, you'd be left with 2x squared minus 5x, and then minus 3. All right, so A would equal 2, B would equal negative 5, C would equal negative 3. All right, so put A here and here. B is negative 5. C is going to be 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Okay, what multiplies to get negative 6 adds to get negative 5? Let's see. So that would be negative 6 and positive 1, I believe. Yep, looks right. So this is reduced to 1 over negative 3. The other one can't be reduced. So you'd have x minus 3 and 2x plus 1. All right, over here I can factor out a negative. So factor out a negative or a negative 1 if you want to think of it that way. Left with 3x squared plus x minus 2. All right, then we set up the snowflake. A would equal 3, B would equal, so it's right up here. So A is going to equal 3, B is going to equal 1, and C is going to equal negative 2. Okay, so A's go here and here, B goes up here, and A times C would be negative 6. What multiplies the negative 6 adds to 1? I believe that would be 3 and negative 2. All right, this reduces to 1 over 1, so x plus 1. And this reduces to 3x minus 2. All right. This, okay, if you want to solve for x, okay, this, if you're in pre-calc or above, you probably know what to do here. If you're in algebra, I'll go ahead and show you this. All right. So first, what you're going to factor it, and then I'll show you what to do next. So A is 2, B is negative 7, and A times C, 2 times 3 is 6. All right, so think what multiplies to get C and adds to get, or multiplies to get 6, adds to get negative 7. All right, so if you need to do it this way, you can write the different things that multiply to get 6. So 6 and 1, negative 6, negative 1, negative 3, positive, oops, nope, this would be both 2 negatives or 2 positives are going to multiply to get a positive. All right. So you can just look now, what adds to 7? This does not, this does, this gets you negative 5, and that gets you 5. So looks like negative 6 and negative 1 work. Sometimes the list helps you out if you're not sure. All right, this reduced to 1 over negative 3, and the other side's already reduced. So that's going to factor to x minus 3 times 2x minus 1. All right, so we just factored this out. Remember, the other side is equal to 0. So now what you need to do is use the zero product property. Okay, pretty much the way that works is the way this is set up is x minus 3 is going to end up being a number. Okay, 2x minus 1 is going to end up being another number. Okay, how do I get 0 when I multiply numbers? Well, one of them has to be equal to 0. So what you do is you set both equal to 0. All right, in this case, pretty much it looks like whatever the opposite is, you're going to get 3. Okay, these are going to slow down a little bit. Write them out like this. 2x is going to equal to 1, which means x is going to equal 1/2. All right, and those would be your solutions. Feel free to plug them in and check. All right, well, hopefully that is another method you have. If you're sick of guessing and checking, you can try using this.